Come on. All right, my computer is going to be slow because it's making the lecture file. Where are we at with that? We're only at 82%, so this will go for a couple more minutes. I can close that down a little. Oh, wait a minute. I need to stop the shooting. All right, can somebody confirm you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you. The first thing I want to talk about is the grading. And that's why I don't want to share my screen. I want to call up the grade book because it's helped me remember what I want to talk about. I know I got the lecture worksheet for one finished. I've not graded any of the extra credit assignments, extra credit picture, the extra credit study sheet. The extra credit picture, assuming you got a picture in there, you get credit. And the worksheet, you have to put in the two tabs, one being your daily schedule, one being your study schedule for credit there. I've not done worksheet lecture two. I will try to get that done before the weekend. I'm not going to rush on that one because I've got other projects to work on. I am going to try and rush on grading the Plagy quiz. I need to go through and grade the first question. And if you miss showing me the environment, it will not count against you in getting 100% for the Plagy quiz. You need to get 100% on the Plagy quiz to get points for the infectious disease project. So if you miss the showing me the environment, that doesn't count against you. But I need to grade that. I haven't even looked at that yet. And I'll try and get that done tonight, maybe early tomorrow, so that you can take a look at what you did wrong for the next quiz, which is going to begin actually 11:59 p.m. tonight, and it's due 11:59 p.m. Wednesday. Oh, good. The lecture file just finished. The only about 50% of you got the 1 or 2 points for the environmental quiz, meaning 50% of you did not show me the entire environment around your computer. If you did not get 1 point, I decided that I'm going to allow you to retake the environmental quiz, and I'm calling this quiz where do I have that? The retake of the environmental quiz. Oh, it's called the retake of the environmental quiz. You should not take the retake of the environmental quiz if you got 1 or more points on the environmental quiz, because in the grading of the retake of the environmental quiz, I'm going to either give you a 0 or a 1. You'll get 1 point if you show me your complete environment around your computer. And if you don't show me your complete environment around your computer, you're going to get a 0. Now, you should only take the retake of the environmental quiz if you intend to do better than you did on the environmental quiz. Because I gave partial credit if you showed me some of the area around your computer when you took the environmental quiz. And I'm not going to give partial credit on the retake of the environmental quiz. So that'll be a cost for taking the retake of the environmental quiz. Any question about any of that?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So if you have a laptop, picking up the laptop and moving it around and showing what it's sitting on, It does that not count?
It does if you show me the entire environment. What you should do when you're working with a laptop is show me first where the computer is sitting. So you should bend the monitor down. I don't know if you can see this. I'll put my face down here, so that maybe you can see it. And then show me where your computer is sitting. You can pick up the laptop as well as do it. You probably won't see this. And then you should move to the right. And what I want to see, you probably can't see it here, is you should see the edge of the table or desk where your laptop is sitting. So I'll look for that. And then I will show me the left side. That might be your right side here.
It's not showing anything but your
Yeah, can you
background.
see it now? I got my face here.
Nope.
Can't see anything. Can't see my face?
No.
No.
All right. I'm not sure what to do about that. Maybe I can turn off. Oh, I can't do that very easily. I've got to go in there and turn off the background, and I'm not sure even how to do that. So let me see if I can do it quickly. If I can figure it out.
Dr. Volp, so I showed my whole island. I even showed my lab and everything, and I still got marked down. So do I have to show the
Then you
full?
didn't show me everything. I only marked it down if you didn't show me everything. And
So
I
the only thing
stated
left
what
was
was
the full.
shown and what was not shown on the environmental quiz. Let me state that on the retake of the environmental quiz, I'm only going to score it either as a 0 or 1. I'm not going to put any comments. It took me nearly a day of time grading and writing the comments for the environmental quiz. So if you don't show me everything on the retake, you're only going to get a 0. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say what's not shown. Let me see if this does it. I don't think that does. Turning off the background. Oh, there's none. Yep, that works. All right. So here, you want to bend it down so that you're showing me where the desk is. You can move it to show me the desk. And then to the left, I should see. Can you guys see the edge here? I don't know. I'm not seeing it very well because it's at such an angle. Can you guys see the edge here?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to see the edge. Okay. And then on the right side, I've got so much junk on my desk, you're probably not going to see it. But here's the edge here. I don't know if you can see it. Not yet. I've got to go further. Let me clear off this stuff. That's good enough. What is that black stuff there? Oh, that's this. So I need to go further. Go here. Ah, there, I see the edge now. So this is the edge here. All right, so I need to see both edges to see the entire area. And obviously I want to see the right side. That's probably your left side, but my right side here, as well as the left side. And I want to see the entire area. Now, let me start the background again. And it's best if you show me the area where your computer is sitting first so that I can anchor it in my mind what you're showing me. If you don't show me what your computer is sitting on first, then I have a hard time trying to figure out what you're showing me and whether you're showing me everything. There was one student who I had to watch the video she showed me 10 times before I figured out that she was showing me the complete right side and the complete left side of her where her computer was sitting. And what I did was I found there was a mark on or a speck of dust on where the computer was sitting, and I could see it on both the right hand side she was showing me and the left hand side. And so I finally figured out after 10 times watching the video that she was showing me her entire area. And like I said, I get annoyed by that, and she was the worst, of course. But if you show me what your computer is sitting on first, I can anchor that area and then compare it to what you're showing me for the left side and then the right side. And then I can very easily determine whether you're showing me your complete environment. And I stated in the environmental quiz what you were not showing me. So you should have some good idea, and hopefully that'll help you in the future. On the retake of the environmental quiz, I'm not going to spend the time telling you what you did not show me. I'm just going to score it as a 0 if you don't show me the complete environment around your computer, and that includes what your computer is sitting on, as well as the left side and the right side. Or you'll get a 1. And if you got partial credit, you might not want to take the retake, because if you get 0 on the retake, you will get 0 on the environmental quiz, meaning the score you get on the retake will trump the score you get on the environmental quiz. So the retake is not going to be worth any points. Whatever points you get in the retake, I will move that point into the environmental quiz. Any question about any of that? All right, let me share my background. Close that down. There was going to be the practice quiz 1 this Wednesday. I've moved the practice quiz until Saturday. So get the practice quiz due by 11:59 p.m. now this Saturday. And I haven't changed that in the online syllabus. I need to do that. I have made it the change on where's the notepad? I have made the change on my version, but I haven't uploaded it yet. So that change is not showing, at least yet. I will get it done. But that's not what my priority is going to be. My priority is getting the Lab 2 graded and the plagiarism quiz graded. Any question about anything? All right. Am I showing you my screen?
Yeah, we can see
All
people's
right.
grade.
Somebody should have mentioned that. I shouldn't show you the screen when I have my grade book up. So I shouldn't have showed you the screen. I'm not real good about that, and my apologies. Um, Come on, go to the screen. Gosh dang it. Now I've got this Zoom workplace, and it's not allowing me to go to Zoom to change the screen. Oh, here it is. Stop share. There we go. Now let me talk a little bit more about the grading. I need the grade book up to remind me what to tell you about. So I got worksheet lab 00 graded. So that you can take a look. If you didn't get the correct answer, I told you what the correct answer was, or told you what you got wrong. And worksheet lab 1, I'm working on that. I hope to have it finished maybe by Wednesday. And I got the lecture worksheet for 1 done. But my goal is to get the plagiarism quiz, the first question graded, and the worksheet for lab 1 graded. My goal is to get it done by Wednesday. We'll see if I make it or not. Any questions about the grading? All right. Let me get out of the grade book, and then I'll share my screen. Oh, yeah, oh, I know it. Yeah, of course I got a lot of emails. All right. Um, let's come back here. And go to the syllabus. So what we're talking about today is the infectious disease project. I'm going to talk about it and we're going to begin that project starting today. And my apologies, I'm supposed to have that so you could access it. Nobody sent me an email. They could not access it. And for some reason, the date that the file, I didn't change that date, changed from last term and it was the wrong date. And so you could not access it. I've now changed it. You can access the infectious disease project. Let me show you where that is. Scroll down to MicroLab2. This link here is the infectious disease research project. Any question about any of that? That's what we're going to talk about today. Let me go ahead and open it on my computer and then it'll show better if it's not in Canvas. It'll be bigger and it'll just show better. All right, the infectious disease project is worth 100 points, assuming you got 100% on the plagiarism quiz, not counting the first question. Crud. The infectious disease project, you're going to be focusing on one specific infectious disease, determining its underlying cause of the disease, what microbe does to the body, how we treat the disease, how social, economic, and political factors affect our ability to deal with the disease. In effect, you're going to become an expert on one particular disease. Each student will have a different disease, and so to choose a topic, you're going to have to pick an infectious disease, get it okayed by me, and if you're the first person choosing that topic, you will get that disease. Now, obviously, you have a lab in front of you, and so a lot of topics have already been chosen. And if you're not the first person to choose that disease, you do not get that disease. You'll have to choose another disease. And for you guys, because probably about 10 people have chosen a topic, you might want to send me a second choice disease. After tomorrow, meaning after today, I guess, you should definitely send me two choices because if your first choice is taken, you will not get that topic. So have a backup. Some diseases I will break into different categories like malaria, influenza, even HIV. It's caused by more than one species. For malaria, there's at least 5 species of the Plasmodium parasite that causes the disease, and each of the diseases is a little different. HIV is caused by 2 different viruses, HIV-1 and HIV-2. The disease is a little different. Influenza is caused by influenza A, influenza B, influenza C. To my knowledge, the diseases aren't that different, but they do have different causes. And so I'll break it down into 3 different causes. And that'll allow 3 people to do the influenza topic, 2 people to do HIV, and then 5 people to do malaria. And so there are some diseases that I break up into early stage disease and late stage disease. Tuberculosis is one. And so if you ask for tuberculosis, I will tell you, okay, I break this one down to early stage and late stage. Which one do you want? If you are the first one to request a disease and I'm telling you that I break it into different categories, I will keep it reserved for you, but you got to tell me what your category is soon so I can give somebody else who requests that disease what their option is. If you don't give it to me quickly, like within a week, I will give the topic to someone else in front of you. But generally, the first person requesting the disease will get it.
Where do we request that? Is it just an email?
Yeah, just a Canvas email.
Thank you.
All right. If you send it to my regular Clark College email, I'm not going to check it more than twice a week, and so you may not get the topic because um, I will give it to the Canvas email people first.
And it can be any infections, disease.
Infectious disease, any infectious disease. I will okay it. First of all, I'll check to make sure it's actually an infectious disease. If it's not, I'll tell you that's not an infectious disease and pick an infectious disease. I will also tell you if somebody beat you to the topic, and so to pick another topic, or if I break this disease down into different categories. I told you some of them that I do break down into different categories, and you have to choose a specific category. So you need to clear it with me. If you do not clear it with me, you'll immediately get a 10-point penalty. I do not want two people writing on the same topic. And most likely, if you do not clear it with me, two people will be writing on the same topic. So you need to clear it with me. All right, any question about any of that? Generally, people who attend the lab will clear it with me. It's only the people who aren't clear watching the lab, they're not clearing it with me. And usually there's only one or two per term. Um, Pick an infectious disease, check with your instructor about the disease. If no one has this disease, you'll get it. First email, first assign the disease. And then learn about your assigned disease. The Clark College Library has a database to help you search. I think if you log into the library and do a search from the library webpage, you will automatically use the database. But they do have links to the database. I'm not sure where those links are. I haven't gone to the library page recently, but it used to be on the main library webpage. And then write up a report and submit your written report. The report must be typed, it must be single spaced with 1-inch margins and 12-point font. Please use 12-point font. If you notice, I wear glasses. These glasses are only reading glasses. If you use something smaller than 12-point font, I will have a hard time reading it. Any question about that? You should have your cover information where you state your name, the topic, the course, the name of the disease, and then the date. That should be not on a cover page, but simply the space of your page before the body of your text, meaning put it on your first page of your text. Do not have a cover page. The text should be limited to about 5 single pages. If you have 4 single side pages, you won't get a penalty, but less than 4, you will get a penalty. If you have more than 6, you also will get a penalty. And this is counting only the text. It's not counting the bibliography. It's not counting any pictures you put in. So those don't count for the 5 single pages, single-sided pages. Any question about any of that? The report content must describe all aspects of the disease that are itemized in the report content section below. The text will be worth 60 points. There's an additional 15 points for grammar, spelling, flow, and readability. If the grammar, the spelling, the flow, and the readability are all excellent, you will get the 15 points. So that means the writing will be worth 75 points. As much as possible, the text should be written in your own words. Do not use direct quotes only use direct quotes when absolutely necessary. If you put more than 50% of your document in quotes, I'm going to mark it down. You'll get a penalty. I once had a student turn in a paper which over 75%, maybe even over 80% of the paper was in quotes. And I decided that's way too much. Anything over 50% is going to be penalized. And I don't even want to see 50%. Like I said, you should only use direct quotes when absolutely necessary. When you state some facts which are not common knowledge, either directly quoted or paraphrased, you should give credit to your source with an in-text citation. And that should be immediately after the sentence that you state the fact. Not at the end of the paragraph. There is one exception. I forgot to mention that in the earlier lab. Let me write this down so I remember to state it for them. The in-text citation, if all of the in-text citation after each fact you state in a paragraph are the same in-text citation, then you can, rather than state it after each paragraph where you're stating a fact, you can state it one time at the end of the paragraph. But that's only if all of the facts come from the same in-text citation. And I remembered I was going to talk about that to them, and then I got sidetracked and I didn't get back to it. So, an example would be if you state in the United States, 1,100,000 people came down with the flu last year. I don't know what the actual number is, but we're going to pretend that's a real fact that's not commonly known. So you should have an in-text citation after you state that fact. And if you state this from an article, and you use that article's wording, you should put that wording in quotes. Okay? If you paraphrase it, then it doesn't need to be in quotes, but you should have the in-text citation because that's not commonly known. Now, if you state something like, in the United States last year, a lot of people came down with the flu, that's common knowledge. You do not need to have an in-text citation. Any question about any of that? Wherever you have an in-text citation, inside your text, you should have a one-to-one correspondence with a full reference citation at the end of the paper. And we'll talk about that in a moment. If you don't put something in quotes that you're using from somebody else, that is plagiarizing. And if you plagiarize someone, you may get a 0 on the paper, depending if you're plagiarizing, just a few words, probably not a 0. But if you plagiarize a 2 sentences or a paragraph, you'll get a 0 on the paper. So you should put something that you're plagiarizing in quotes, give an in-text citation, and then you're not plagiarizing because you've quoted it and given a citation. Any question about any of that? You should have learned that in the plagiarism tutorial. The in-text citation will be worth 10 points. Let me show you how to make an in-text citation because students frequently get that wrong. Probably don't need this, so let's go ahead and make a new one. I can close that down. So we're stating something, and then you state a fact. The Y's will be a fact. The fact is not commonly known. You should then put an in-text citation. The way you do it is the author's last name, if there's only one author, and then the year of publication. And that's the in-text citation. You put it before the period. If, on the other hand, there's two authors, you do it this way. Let's go in here and in-text citation. If there's two authors, come on. You do something like Smith and Jones, meaning Jones is the second author. And then a comma, and then the year of publication. If there's more than two authors, you do Smith et al., period, and then the year of publication. And that's how you do an in-text citation. This is about the only time you use et al. In your references, and that is in the in-text citation. That's not entirely true in the full references. If there are 8 or more authors, you can spell out the names of 6 of the first authors, and then the last author. And then after the 6th author, you go et al. And this is so complex, I would just spell it all out. But if you want, if there's 8 or more authors, you can use et al. After the 6th author, and then you need to give the last author. Any question about that? I mean, you have to spell out the full names and initials for the first 6 authors. And then you can go et al. Maybe it's 7.
Can you share your screen so we can see?
You guys, when I'm showing you something and I'm not sharing my screen, please let me know. Okay? I thought I was sharing my screen. Let's go back here. So that means I wasn't sharing any of the screen when I was talking about all of the infectious disease projects so far. And that's not good, people. Please let me know in advance, because with Zoom, it's not entirely obvious to me what's going on. Like somebody put in a chat here, I never even saw that. So what's the question? I don't even see the question now. Yeah, I was not. All right. So you should ask, because I can't see the chat when I'm sharing my screen. And for some reason, I didn't see it when I wasn't sharing my screens. Maybe that Zoom isn't quite working correctly. Because usually when I'm not sharing my screen, I can see the chat. All right, so the in-text citation should look like this if you have one author, and this is just the information in the text of the page. And if there's two authors, it should be Smith and Jones in brackets usually, then comma, year. And then if there's more than two authors, you just go the first author, Smith et al., comma, 2022, meaning the year of publication. Otherwise, you won't get 10 out of 10. All right, for the full references, or the full citation, and there should be a full reference for each in-text citation, you should give Smith and then his initials. And then, oops, let me put in this. This is for a journal, an article in a journal. You should give the article's name. The journal name. Like, I'll give an example in a minute. Journal name, the journal volume number, and then the page number. I think that's it. The exact example would be something like Smith, A, J. I should have just copied that. Oh, I don't know. Um, we'll make the journal of medicine. Oop, how do you spell medicine? Something like that. And I don't know what volume number that would be, so let's just go volume 1001, page number 191. Any question about any of that? For a book, oop, then we'll do this one, Smith and Jones, 2023. Get rid of that. You need to put in the initials.
Is this going to be written in APA format?
You can use any format you want. You should use the same format throughout the paper and in the in-text citation, but you could use MLA or APA. I'm not sure which format I'm using. This is mostly a scientific format, but it follows either MLA or APA.
The references tab up in the Word document, if you press that, it'll give you a window and you can fill as much information in as possible and it'll create references for you based on the format that you choose.
Okay, I don't know about that, but if you do, and it puts et al. In the full references, you're going to have to spell it out, okay?
Okay.
All right. Smith and Jones, let's go. Bob, J. And then article's name or chapter name, probably a chapter name for most books. There could be the article name in the book. Name of book. Editor book. Publisher of book. And then the city of publication. The page number. I don't remember if the page number is optional or not. The page number is probably a good thing to put in. All right, is that right? Yeah.
So what if you get these things online?
Yeah, for a web page, I'm going to show that next. We're going to go Smith et al. And we're just going to put Smith and Jones. Oops, come on. I need to put in a third one. There we go. That doesn't look right. Oh, I got too many. Come on, get out of here. Sorry, I have Grammarly on this computer and now it's following up this. The name of the article or the web page, and then the web address. There you go. Any question about that? And the web address should be a link, actually. So let's go ahead and put that a link. See if that's right. No, I think that's a comma there. I can't see it exactly. Oh, that's wrong. That should be a period. All right, any question about that? So this is how you do the full references. I'm not going to give you an actual example like I did for the journal there, because it's going to just be too much. There we go. Don't know how to spell medicine. That should probably be volume period, vol period. All right, any question about the in-text citation or the full references? The in-text citation will be worth 10 points. The full references will be worth 15 points. And I tried to go through a detailed example of this because students frequently get the in-text citation or the full references wrong, or both. Trying to figure out where we were. Oh, here we are. In-text citations will be APA. Like I said, you may use any commonly used format, but just be consistent, meaning only use one format for both the in-text citation or the full references. The sources you should cite in your paper should be scientifically appropriate and reputable, so you can use things from the government information like the USDA, FDA, CDC. And geez, I hope that continues to be reliable. I'm not sure with our current administration, the government information currently may not be reliable. I'm not sure. Scientific journals can be used. Obviously, it's reliable. Scientists, before they can publish anything, it has to be peer reviewed. Popular magazines that are known to be reliable, like Scientific American, National Geographic, Time, Newsweek. Books and textbooks on biology, microbiology. If you take a look at our textbook, you'll see near the very first page, there's a page listing all of the people who reviewed the textbook. So the material in that textbook should be correct and factual. Newspapers of a credible source like the New York Times is credible. The National Enquirer is not credible. A variety of scientifically reputable television shows from the History Channel, PBS, etc. There are sources to be suspicious, and you probably should not use a religious, political, or privately funded publication or a personal website. Everybody has a bias, and if they're publishing something, they are wanting you to believe what they believe. So a religious, political, privately funded publication, personal websites may be biased, and you probably should not use them for this project. A college and university page that contains student work. Students are not terribly knowledgeable. They make mistakes, and there will be no one to correct their mistake. So these pages should not be used. If it's a college or university page made by a professor, they are knowledgeable, and usually they'll come and correct the mistake if they find the mistake. By the way, if anyone finds a scientific mistake on my web page and you notify me, I'll give you an extra credit point. Okay? I've had this material up there, so I don't think there's anything wrong, but if there is, let me know. Occasionally, also, the scientific data changes, like I just recently changed within the last 2 years, the number of microbes on the human body. For some reason, initially, that the numbers changed, okay? Their estimates just changed. I'm just going to word it that way. And I did update that. So, like I said, if there's a mistake on my page, eventually I'll discover it and then change it. You should not use Wikipedia as a source. You may use Wikipedia to get ideas and get started, but you cannot use it as a primary source or give a reference. The reason why is Wikipedia can be changed at any time by anyone. If you use Wikipedia, you can state their sources. You have to check to make sure their sources are valid, but if it is, you're using the information from their sources, and so you can use their sources. So I'm not saying you can't use Wikipedia, but you can't reference it because at any time anyone can change anything in Wikipedia. And I know this for a fact because I got together with another professor and he went to uh, Charles Darwin and just added something to Wikipedia on Charles Darwin. And Charles Darwin is something that Wikipedia checks because a lot of people will go in there and just put a bunch of garbage up about Charles Darwin. And so the point is that we were able to change something on Charles Darwin, and they're checking that page. Most pages Wikipedia does not check because they have a lot of pages and it would be too expensive to check all their pages. All right, the literature citations page should be a list of all sources cited within the text of the paper. This is the last page of your assignment. It doesn't count towards the total 5 pages, meaning 4 to 6 pages. It's the full citation where you cite everything in your text. You must use both the same citation style as your in-text citations. You must have at least 4 unique good sources in your literature citation page. If you have bad sources, meaning something that is not referenced, not a good source, as long as you have 4 good ones, it's fine. And I can just look and tell you whether you have a good source or not. The complete literature citation page will be worth 15 points. And then the final report must be submitted in the folder for Canvas for this project. And it must be of type doc, docx, this is Microsoft Word format, or rich text format, .rtf, or write. That's a Microsoft Word document. What do you call that? WordPad document, sorry. Or it can be a text. Oops, I forgot to mention it can be text. Let me change that there. You won't get any formatting with text, but you can use text. Almost all word processors can save it down in rich text format. Many of them can save it down as docx or doc as well. And then I think all of them can save it down as a text format. I do not allow PDF because this project will be checked by Turnitin for plagiarism. And some PDF documents, if not most of them, I don't know what percentage, the Turnitin has trouble with the PDF, may have trouble with the PDF document. So I do not allow a PDF format. And this will be checked by plagiarism. So don't plagiarize, and it will be checked for AI usage too. So if you're using AI, you should either use your own words or cite it. You don't have to put it in quotes if you use a paraphrase, but you should put it in in-text citation that you used AI, because you are using AI, and if you don't do that, you'll be plagiarizing the AI. All right, any question about any of that? So let's talk about the project content. You use these subject headings for the content of the text of your document. And that way I'll know where each topic begins and ends. So you should have the causative agent, the history, epidemiology, pathology, response and treatment, and the social, political, and economic considerations. If you do not have these subheadings, you'll immediately get -6 on this project, -1 for each subject of the subheading. Whoop, that's, no. So you should talk about the causative agent. What's the causative agent of the disease? If it's a bacteria, a virus, a prion, or a eukaryote. If it's a bacteria, you should obviously tell me what the species is. You should give the characteristics of the cell. Is it gram positive or gram negative? What's the cell shape? What's the cellular arrangement? What are some metabolic capabilities of the species? And anything that's important for that species or the disease. If it's a virus, what are the viral characteristics? Now, I realize we haven't talked about viruses yet, but we will. You should tell me whether the virus is a DNA virus or an RNA virus. If it's an RNA virus, you should let me know if it's double-stranded or single-stranded. And if it's single-strand, if it's a positive single-strand RNA molecule or a negative single-strand RNA molecule. You should let me know if it's a retrovirus, if the virus is enveloped or naked, how large the virus is, whether the virus has a provirus, and then any unique characteristics of the virus multiplication cycle. If it's a prion, tell me about the prions. If it's a eukaryote, tell me about the eukaryote. For the history, you should tell me how long we've known about the disease, historically how the disease was treated, and what the history of the vaccine development was. You should also describe the changes in our knowledge and attitude of the disease throughout the history of the disease. Any question about that? So even COVID-19, which is a relatively new human disease, our knowledge has changed. We don't really have changed how the disease is treated. We just, somebody who gets COVID-19, you give them supportive care. It's a virus disease. There's no real cure for any virus. But we do have the history of the vaccine development. You can talk about that. And then describe the changes in our knowledge and attitude of this disease throughout history. Even in COVID-19, our knowledge has changed dramatically. Like initially, we knew nothing about it. And now we know a lot about it. And then our attitudes have changed too. It used to be people were afraid of getting COVID-19. They'd be wearing a mask whenever they got in public, like when you went to a grocery store. If you remember most places closed, but you would go to a grocery store and people were wearing masks. And now you go to the grocery store, hardly anyone wears a mask, including the elderly people. And in my opinion, the elderly should continue to wear a mask because if they get COVID-19, it could be a serious disease, and they should definitely be wearing a mask if they have not gotten the last COVID-19 vaccine. Any question about that? And that's because COVID-19 is more serious among the elderly than it is among other populations of people, including young people. All right, you can read what I want in the epidemiology, what I want in the pathology, what I want in the response and treatment section, and what I want in the social and political and economic considerations. Let me remind you, you can use AI for this project, but you should give credit where you're using AI, meaning state something and then give a citation for the in this case, the open AI, but the AI reference, so give an in-text citation. If you use direct quote from AI, you should put it in quotes and then give the citation. If you paraphrase, you don't need to put it in quotes, but you should still give the in-text citation. And then at the end of the document, you give the full reference for the AI. In this case, they stated notation that people can be characterized as left brain or right brain is considered to be an oversimplification and a popular myth. So they're quoting directly, stating where they got that from OpenAI 2023, and then the full reference OpenAI 2023 Chat GPT, the version number, the large language model, and then the reference for the web page that they got the OpenAI information from. Any question about any of that? Otherwise, they're plagiarizing AI. And like I stated, it's fairly easy to determine if a sentence or a paragraph or the entire paper was written by AI. And that's because you can put it in AI and then ask it, was something in this paper written by AI? And the AI will inform you. And then when you turn it in, not only will it check for plagiarism, but it will check for plagiarism from AI usage. So if you use AI, make sure you cite it. Otherwise, you're plagiarizing the AI. Any question about that? All right. The copy of the grading rubric is on the next page. You'll get 2 points for the cover information, 9 points for the causative agents information, 10 points for the history information, 10 points for epidemiology, 10 points for pathology, 10 points for response and treatment, 9 points for socio-political and economic issues, 15 points for the quality of writing, 10 points for the in-text citations, 15 points for the literature citation page, and that makes a total of 100 points for this project. Any question about this project? All right, if there's no questions, pick a topic, email it to me. It's probably best now if you send 2 topics because about 10 people have already sent me a topic, and I'll get back to you. Any questions? All right, that's it. I will see you in the lab next time. What did I change
I have a
here?
question.
Uh-huh.
I have a question, but it's for worksheet 2 that's due on the 4th. All of the there's not enough questions. So do you want us to start from number 1 if all of the questions have been answered?
Let me look at worksheet 2 and
Mhm.
see if I have a new worksheet that I haven't uploaded yet, because that's what happened with worksheet 1. Um, No. Which one's the most recent? It looks like it's that one. Yeah, it doesn't look like I've added anything to worksheet 2. So what you can do is, if all of the questions are taken, just take a question that you think is wrong or one you can add something to. And if none of them are wrong and you can't add anything, you can just start over at question 1.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. All right, I'm going to say bye.